Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rose and Bones Show. I'm your host, Olivia Witkowski, and today I am joined by Declan Tobin. Today we will be debating on whether the NFL is too lenient on player conduct. Declan, I'm going to start off by saying I think the NFL is way too lenient. I think in issues of, especially with women, I don't think they have their best interests in mind. It seems that the NFL and the entire league is just filled with stories of sexual assault, cheating scandals, and even murder scandals. What are your thoughts on that?
So, Olivia, I'm going to have to disagree with you here. Sure, there is lots of stories regarding sexual misconduct, murders, like you were talking about. At the same time, I believe the players are under almost too much of a watch, and that's putting too much stress on them and maybe even causing them to commit some crimes and stuff like that. I believe that the NFL is almost like a strict parent, you know? I feel like players, especially big-name players such as Pat Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, all those guys are going out, and they can't even go out in the public without being swarmed. And if they do one bad thing, make one bad comment, you know, they're fined millions or thousands or millions of dollars and maybe sometimes even suspended from games. Again, when it comes to even playing in the games itself, I feel like the NFL needs to let the players play. You know, especially the big thing with my big topic when I think of this in mind is taunting. I know guys like Zay Flowers and Jamar Chase been caught for taunting this year and fined almost, I think including both of them in total, almost over like $5 million, $6 million, which is insane. I know growing up as an athlete, I played a lot of sports growing up. Taunting's a part of the game. You know, you let your message know, I made a big catch, I'm here. And sometimes like players want to express that, and the NFL is not letting that happen.
But cheating scandals and sexual assault cases shouldn't be a part of the league. And I think the NFL needs to be strict on, I think a lot stricter on the players so stuff like this doesn't happen. It seems that the league really only has the best interests of women in mind when it makes them look good, for example, with Taylor Swift.
Absolutely, I have to agree with that, but at the same time I have to disagree. I feel like Taylor Swift has been under a watchful eye, and especially with the social media accounts that the NFL has, which is technically part of their social and public player policy. I feel like they're almost overusing her, and to a point where they're trying to use Taylor Swift and other females like that in the game. I know Carly Lloyd, who was a soccer player for the United States, had a kicking tryout with the Eagles a couple years back, and they did the same thing. There's been players that have gotten in trouble, and they've used that to dry away from that, and that's almost being like too strict. We're at the point where they are finding these players, they're doing this, but at the same time, they're also taking away from it, which just makes no sense to me.
I really do think that the league has gone a little bit soft lately. I have no problem with the taunting, but something I do have a problem with is sometimes poor behavior. If we look back a few years ago, we see Antonio Brown taking off his gear mid-Patriots game and walking away. I think it was a very childish act, and I think it was immature.
I agree, but at the same time, the guy is clearly something's wrong with him. He had CTE or something, and I believe the league should have compensated for him for that and not punished him.
Well, that's a very interesting take, Declan. We thank you all for joining us. This is the Rose and Bones Show. I'm your host, Olivia Witkowski, and we will see you next week.